Hello and welcome everybody to Athelstan 1100. And today we're going to be talking to Campbell Ritchie about why, what, who is why, what, who of this sort of festival. So I'm just going to check that we've got some people watching, because I can actually see whether people are watching or not yet. So we're going to just give it a couple of minutes to let people come in. I'm going to take that away so you can just see me. Yeah, so Campbell's going to be joining us. He's going to be telling us all about the festival. I'm really looking forward to this. It sounds like a fascinating number of events. There are kind of 80 organisations involved in this festival of Athelstan. So I didn't know much about Athelstan, so I was going to ask Campbell, like, who was he, and was he, and why was he interested in Malmesbury? So we'll find out all of that from Campbell, and I'm going to bring Campbell in right now. So here we go. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Lisa. Good evening.
Good evening to you. How are you doing this evening?
Well, great. Thanks very much. And thanks very much for inviting me on the show. That's
all right. It's a long time since we did this. We did this quite a few times over lockdown. And it's really, it's nice to try it again. Like, because actually it was an incredibly effective way to communicate in that period, wasn't it?
Well, it was helpful. Crikey, that does seem like a long time ago now, wasn't it? And it was, different circumstances. It's great news that we can get back and to be doing things. And hopefully that we're going to get the benefit of that this summer.
Yes, absolutely. So I've got some questions for you. So why are we commemorating 1,100 years? What happened then?
1,100 years since Athelstan first became king, and it was the start of a remarkable story. He was king for 15 years, but by the time he finished, by the time he died in 939, he had become king of all England, and he was and can truly claim to be the first king of England. And Malmesbury was a very special place for him, and he chose to be buried here. So we've got this special relationship, which means that we've got every good reason to be celebrating and commemorating the 1100th anniversary of Athelstan taking that remarkable step in his career.
So who was Athelstan?
Excuse me. Well, Athelstan was the grandson of King Alfred and the son of the successor to Alfred, Edward. So his dad was Edward, and he was the son of a relationship that Edward had as a relatively young man before he was king, with a woman whose name we're not quite sure what it was, but when Edward knew he was going to become king, he moved on to somebody who he thought would be more suitable to become a queen. So Athelstan was there in the court of Alfred with his dad Edward, and with a stepmom who wasn't that enamoured of him, and she very much wanted her own sons to become the first in line for the throne in due course, and so he was sent off to be brought up with his aunt Ethelfled in Mercia. So it was quite a difficult start to his life. He was only 5 or 6 when he got sent up to Mercia,
what is Mercia? Is that Gloucestershire? Is that right?
It is absolutely right. I mean, Malmesbury is right on the border of the kingdom of the West Saxons and Mercia. And we, of course, think of Malmesbury as being part of Wessex. But it, in parts of its history in the Anglo-Saxon period, it was within Mercia, and it was very much a border town. And that's one of the things that made it significant as well, Lisa.
Okay. And what's the borders of Wessex?
Sorry, the borders of Wessex.
Where is Wessex?
Yeah, Wessex really is Dorset and Somerset and Wiltshire, and then carrying on Berkshire and south of the Thames would be the traditional sort of borders for Wessex, going all the way towards Kent.
So a bit like we have kind of a bit of amity between Tetbury and Malmesbury, it was still the same then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, absolutely it was. Well, certainly in the very early days. I mean, if we go back, Athelstan was born in 895, so just at the start of the 900s, and he became king in 924. But the Saxons started arriving in and around the area where we live now in the 500s. And of course, we all know, Anglo-Saxons, it was the Saxons, it was the Angles, it was the Jutes. Well, the Saxons were coming into the south and up into the area where we live now in Malmesbury. The Angles were coming into the north. And so essentially you had two groups starting to meet and compete a bit with each other. And we had two kingdoms on the go, West Saxons and the Mercians. And Mercia went all the way up through the Midlands and a bit further north, and the border was here. And it was a contested border. It wasn't really sorted out until somewhere in the early 630s and 200 years before Athelstan.
Okay. And so what was his connection to Malmesbury? Why was he interested in Malmesbury?
Yeah, well, it does go back into that period. One of Athelstan's heroes was a chap called Ealdhelm. And of course, we're celebrating St. Ealdhelm's Day this weekend. His day falls in towards the end of May. And St. Ealdhelm founded the abbey here in Malmesbury. He himself was the son of a West Saxon king, and he could have become a king himself, but chose to rather be more involved in setting up the church, and he was religious and was the first really in his family to follow the Christian faith. His parents had only just been converted to Christianity, but he was much more than that. He was a great influencer. He was certainly an advisor to kings. But also was a great communicator, a poet and a writer, and it was really the way that he went about describing how you should live your life and how he lived his own life that was inspiring to Athelstan, who saw him, of course, quite rightly as a far distant relative. And there's no doubt that Athelstan shaped parts of the way he did things on Ealdhelm. So the fact that Ealdhelm was here in Malmesbury was one of the things that attracted Athelstan to Malmesbury and made it very important to him. So we can track it all that way back. During Athelstan's reign, he certainly saw Malmesbury as being important. He gave lots of gifts to the abbey, and it was probably seen, Malmesbury, as being a bit of a sort of safe area. It was a border town. That meant it was neither really Mercian or West Saxon. And so as Athelstan, as he started in his journey of kingship, it was the Mercians who first of all wanted him to be their king. The West Saxons were slightly more reluctant to that. He persuaded them that it was going to be a good idea and brought the Mercians and the West Saxons together. And Malmesbury being on the border, I think, was quite symbolic as part of that journey as well. So lots of different reasons that made Malmesbury very important for Athelstan, and a place that he saw as important to him, so much so that he chose to be buried here. But also his nephews were buried here as well. So it was significant. There was clearly an important relationship.
So that's his tomb, isn't it? And that's in the abbey.
It is, and just so you're aware, I can't actually see you at the moment, Lisa, but I know the picture that you're talking about. So yeah, that's symbolic of his tomb. What is actually there was created in the late 1300s, early 1400s. So it's not the tomb he was actually buried in. And of course, when he was buried in Malmesbury, we didn't have the abbey that we have now. There was a big Saxon church called St. Mary's, and that's where he was buried in 939. He was then moved because St. Mary's was knocked down to make way for the new abbey, and he had to be moved at that point into the new abbey. And indeed, the monks at the time took the chance to open up his tomb and have a quick peek inside. And William of Malmesbury, who was a great historian, and about who wrote down a lot of the things that helps us know so much about Athelstan. They peeked inside, had a look, and were able to describe him as a man of medium height and build, but his golden hair and tresses were still intact, and that was then part of the growing story of Athelstan and his importance as a place of that people wanted to come to as a place of pilgrimage.
Wow. So yeah, his golden tresses were still there. So we know what colour hair he had. What else do we know about the way he looked?
Well, we've remarkably got images of Athelstan, and which seems quite incredible, doesn't it, for somebody who was living 1100 years ago?
I'm just sharing it now, the image we have.
Yeah, so this is a picture that's in a book from the time, so it's contemporary, and it's Athelstan presenting a book to Cuthbert. So it's Athelstan on the left, and what is there is his crown with the 3 points. So he was the first monarch to be seen wearing a crown, we've got the sort of the look and feel of him. So we can see clearly his blonde hair, golden hair, in the image, and get a feel for him as a type of individual. We've also got his image on coins. His coins that were produced, and of course they were a very important way of communicating what he looked like. And I think if you're able to go to it, Lisa.
Yeah, I've got it there now.
There we are. So that's the coin. That's a coin minted in Athelstan's reign, and it's the coin that is in the Athelstan Museum, so you can go and see it in great detail. While clearly it's worn a little bit over the years, you can see there the traces of the crown, which is exactly the same as the one in the picture that we just had a look at. And the face isn't that dissimilar, and because the coins over the period had different faces, different style of face on them, they were trying to recreate what that individual looked like. So we've got this coin here that with the picture and the descriptions from William of Malmesbury just helped get us a feel for the man.
Yeah. Was this coin from the time he was king?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it was. No. This was a coin that was minted when he was king, just like we had coins of Queen Elizabeth, and we're getting coins now of King Charles III. This is absolutely from the period. It was minted in Wallingford,
where was it minted?
In Wallingford on the Thames. It was one of the royal mints. Malmesbury has had a mint in the past, but Malmesbury's mint didn't start for another 50 years after this coin itself was minted. But we can see the name on there around the side is Athelstan on the left-hand side. We can see it in Old English script, and you can see there the way the letters are formed. And it goes around and it says then Rex, means king, but this coin has got the symbol TOB at the bottom, which makes it really, really unusual, because that means King of all Britain. And so that little TOB bit at the bottom there, and that suggests that it will come quite late in his reign, so probably after somewhere in the late 930s. But a beautiful coin and worth having a look at. And one of the things that is happening this summer, Lisa, is Athelstan Museum has got an absolutely fantastic exhibition. They're getting some brilliant Athelstan-related exhibits coming in from places like the British Museum, the Ashmolean Museum, the Victoria and Albert Museum. They are doing such a fantastic job. And part of it is a collection of other coins. So there's at least one other coin that's got an image of Athelstan on that we can compare with, but also coins from his forebears and his successors. So we can kind of see how those things worked. And there's a lot more information on the coins. If you turn this coin over, and you can see it in the museum, we actually know the name of the person who made the coin. And we've got the confirmation of where it was made as well. So it really is quite a brilliant help to us to understand what was going on.
What does the T stand for? It's TOB. So why is it T?
Well, it's basically saying Rex, so it's got REX just before it, then TOB, which means Totus Britannicus. So it's kind of in sort of reverting to Latin, but it basically means King of all Britain there. And we're going to hear from a speaker this summer as to why that was a very legitimate claim for him to make.
So where is this in the museum? Is it downstairs, upstairs? Do you know? Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Well, this coin's upstairs, so you just go up onto the top level. On the same floor, there's only 2 floors in Athelstan Museum. On the same floor is the fantastic Turner picture, and the coin is there, and it's about 1 inch across, or 2 centimeters across.
So tell me, have we celebrated Athelstan before in Malmesbury?
Well, we absolutely have, and it was one of the reasons that we thought we ought to do something to celebrate the 1100th anniversary, because the image that you're showing is the procession that took place in the town in June 1924, which of course was the 1000th anniversary of Athelstan becoming king. And this is a procession of townsfolk going across Town Bridge, going up towards Burton Hill, where there was a huge pageant that went on. So a huge crowd up there, and performances, and there was events all over town. So we're not inventing something here. Malmesbury has always wanted to celebrate and commemorate important Athelstan anniversaries, and not just because Athelstan was thought Malmesbury was important to him, but from the Malmesbury perspective, of course, we know we've got the name Athelstan everywhere now, with the museum and the school and the coaches and the cinema as was, and lots of other places around town. But also because of the links through with the Warden and Freeman, and the early charters that suggest that the Warden and Freeman received land because of Athelstan and Alfred, and Tony McAlevey will be having a really interesting talk this summer, talking more about that, and that we can track the land ownership around Malmesbury back to grants that were being made in and around the period of Alfred and Athelstan. So it really is quite a remarkable connection with the past that we've got symbolised here in the procession that we've got, and the anniversary that we're having this year.
I love the picture, because the photograph, because you can, like, they look like 1920s. There's 2 ladies on the left that look like 1920s ladies, and then the crowd on the right as well, with all their hats and everything. It's just great. It's a beautiful picture.
Oh, absolutely.
So we've got another photo here of the community, and is the different community groups involved? Is that correct?
Well, yes, that's right. I mean, the discussions or the planning for Athelstan 1100 this summer really started in March of last year. And the first step was to pull together all the different groups in Malmesbury who could be interested in wanting to be involved in the celebration of the 1100th anniversary for Athelstan. And there's just a few of the groups there, but it wasn't very hard to fill the room with reps from the museum and the Abbey, and of course Malmesbury Town Council and the town team, plus the History Society and lots of other groups who are represented there in the picture, and wider. Plus, of course, lots of individuals who are just happy to volunteer and get stuck into a project like this, and so this group has been working as a steering group over the last few months, and lots of other groups as part of it have been undertaking various aspects of planning for all the fantastic events that we've got coming up this summer.
I can see the Abbey represented there, Campbell, I think, council, lots of different people.
Absolutely, yeah. So with the museum and others, and so it's hard to think about whether there's groups or organisations that aren't represented now in some shape or form, or involved in some shape or form with Athelstan. So you sort of name it, and we can talk through the sorts of things that they're involved with. But of course, as well, businesses have got involved, and it's brilliant to see now so many of them sporting the by pointing to King Athelstan stickers in the high street. It means that they've actively got involved in this project. We're starting to see lots of merchandise, but we've had some tremendous support as well from organisations. So our website, for example, has been donated by Mind Vision. We've had Andy Nurden is doing, and AC Nurdens are doing lots of very practical help. They're going to be helping us put the banners up in a week or so's time on the start of June. We've got help on the press and PR side with Fiona Scott. Lots of different organisations who are giving practical help and financial help, and it's only with that we've been able to put together the programme that we have, and it's only through that we've been able to make so many events free to attend, and that's a really important part of what we're trying to do here, is to make Athelstan 1100 as accessible as absolutely possible. So every weekend there are big free events for people to be able to attend and enjoy, and hope everybody will just will join in with it. What you're just showing there, this current slide, is just really some latest events that have been added in. So if we just go around, we've got our representation there of William of Malmesbury, who's going to help tell the story of Athelstan, which is a big live production in the Abbey. So 4 performances of that on the second weekend in July, and they're free to attend. So we're really hoping we can blow the rafters off with that one. That's going to be absolutely tremendous. The middle 2 pictures are really...
You've got 4 weekends in all, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. We're starting at the end of June.
End of June, okay. And it goes through till the end of July, basically. Okay.
Yeah, basically, that's absolutely right. So we got our first weekend, so it's the 28th, 29th, 30th of June. So performance of O Athelstan by the pupils from St Joseph's School. That was music written by our organist, John, in the Abbey. And that is just a tremendous piece of work. That's going to be a real evening of joy there to open up. Then we've got Tony McAlevey.
Wasn't it a parent that wrote that? Scanlon.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So it was Mike Scanlon wrote the words, and he was and this was written back in the 1980s. It's only been performed then, and is really coming out to again. And I must admit, when I heard it for the first time, it's just so exciting. It's a brilliant piece of writing, and it's a locally produced piece of work. It's going to be great fun.
It's a lovely memorial to him as well, because I know that he's no longer with us. So that's really lovely. Yeah. Yes, that's lovely. So St Joseph's are doing that in the Abbey, and that is free, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. There's still just a few tickets. Well, tickets have only just been released for that. There are still some tickets for that. That's going to be a super performance, and on Friday the 29th of Friday the 28th.
We need to reiterate this point, that there is something for everybody in this festival, and it is there are a lot of free events that you're doing, actually. So that play is free. There's some other plays that are free, aren't there? And there are there's the what's it called, the archaeology weekend that you're doing. Absolutely.
So last weekend of June we got the O Athelstan that's free. We've got the start of the Athelstan Pilgrim Way. So from 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, a whole group are setting off from Malmesbury on the first stretch of the Athelstan Pilgrim Way, after we've had a talk in the Abbey from Tom Holland, the very famous historian who's coming to Malmesbury that day. And then in the evening, Sunday evening, we've got the launch of Athelstan to Aldi, which is music that's been created by local musicians, 15 songs about historical characters from Malmesbury. Tremendous. And that's a free event in the town hall, and tickets for that are obviously very, very much in demand. They won't be there for very long, limited places, but the chance to be in at the launch of the album there, and to meet the musicians and to hear the music for the very first time. So that's going to be great fun that weekend.
I've got my ticket.
Good.
And
well, there we are. There we are. They're going to be in hot supply, Anyway, so that's just great fun, because that's a real example of how people are just getting inspired by thinking about, well, crikey, Malmesbury's rich past, and coming up with all sorts of creative ways to celebrate it. The next weekend, really, I think a big weekend. I think it's something we're going to be talking about for a long time, which is the archaeology weekend, Athelstan, Malmesbury's big Athelstan dig, and we are working in partnership with Cotswold Archaeology. They are going to work with us to open up 10, 12, perhaps maybe 14. We're still working on exactly which sites, but test pits around Malmesbury. And to help us with that, we've been able to secure a Heritage Lottery grant, which we're really grateful for, because that means that we can make the event free. So people will be able to come round on the Saturday and the Sunday, see the digs underway, meet professional archaeologists, meet enthusiastic interpreters and volunteers, and of course we'll be showing the finds that we get up in the town hall as well as part of it. So that's going to be an absolutely brilliant weekend. We've got pupils from.
Can I ask a few questions about that? Can we just turn up, or I have to book? So it's literally
No,
turn
you'll
up
just be able to. You'll be able to turn up.
And it's 12
There'll be
different
about
sites
12.
around the.
Well, there'll be 12 sites where we've got digs. There'll be 2 other sites where we will be showing stories about the archaeology of those sites. Of course, we've got one of the sites is a building that's there now that's living archaeology. We'll talk more about that at the time of the weekend. And we've also got some treats, activities for children as part of it. So, children will be able to have a go at finding things in a trench or an archaeological area in St Mary's Hall, and possibly down at Cook and Still Mead. So we've got things for everybody in there. People can dip in and out of it. Of course, for those of us who do open gardens as part of Carnival and go from garden to garden, well, it's going to be a bit like that, but there's going to be holes to see rather than focusing on the flowers. But we're hoping that the holes have all themselves got stories to tell, and we'll be doing our very best to interpret it. We may have a few reenactors around as well. So that's going to be a brilliant weekend, and it's getting so much interest already. And, who knows what we're going to find. I think I'm on record as saying that, I'd be happy if we found a bit of clay pipe. Of a pipe, and
it's going to be it's going to be time team but live, basically, in Malmesbury.
Time team but live, yeah, absolutely, and lots of different reporting going on, and who knows, because Malmesbury's got so many layers of history. We may stumble on something exciting Anglo-Saxon, but it could be, we find a bit of foundation of Thomas Hobbes's house, or we. Maybe find a bit of tile that was associated with the abbey, or we see the dark burnt layer for when the Vikings raided Malmesbury in 878. Who knows what we might find? Of course, archaeologists will say, well, if you don't find anything, that's telling you a story as well. But when we're looking across the town centre in a number of different places, then we'll have a story of some sort to tell by the time we finished.
So tell us about the speakers.
You can. So so going all the way through the month, we've got an absolutely brilliant speaker lineup. We have been able to, because people are interested in Malmesbury, historians want to come to Malmesbury, and in and among this great list of speakers that we've got, who are touching on different aspects of Athelstan's life. So, it's not hearing the same story 10 times. This is, different aspects and telling different parts of how Anglo-Saxon life evolved and what the key pressures were and how they were dealt with, as well as bringing us up to date. So, if you had to name 3 leading historians, internationally famous, who can tell us about Athelstan, it's Michael Wood, it's Sarah Foote, and it's Tom Holland, and all 3 of them are in Malmesbury this summer, which is tells you how much they think this is worth doing. And none of our speakers, Lisa, are charging us fees. One of the revenue from the talks essentially are going to help fund a lot of the other activities that we're doing. So these people have been incredibly generous to Malmesbury, and that includes our own homegrown speakers. So Sam Entwistle, who will be talking about really what living was like in Anglo-Saxon times. What happened if you got stung by a bee or you broke your leg? What were cures and remedies like, for example? So real examples of living. And Miranda Schörner will take us on a walk around the wildlife, the flora and fauna of Malmesbury in 924. What animals lived here? What's different now than there were then? So that'll be absolutely fascinating. With Jim Storr.
Miranda. Do you realise that Miranda is one of our moderators on Make Malmesbury Even Better? So even better I do. Like saying, well,
well, I do. That's why I thought I better give her a plug. Anne Goodyear is going to be talking about where we can see Athelstan now. So all the modern Athelstans, how his name is carried on and how he clearly is in the DNA of the town still now. Tony's talk is already sold out. We were talking about Athelstan and Malmesbury, so really sort of those relationships. But we're looking about how we can make sure that happens again at some point. Oliver, really, really looking forward to Oliver's talk, because we talked about Athelstan becoming the first king of England. What else was clear was that after his reign, England was always going to be a Christian country. That wasn't a foregone conclusion because the Vikings, who based in Northumbria, were pagan. And if the Battle of Brunanburh had gone a different way, England could well have been a pagan country for much longer than it was, or how the whole history of evolution of religion may well have been different. So Oliver will be talking about the battle of belief, really what the difference was between Christianity and paganism, and in and around the 9th and 10th centuries. Absolutely fascinating stuff going on there. We mentioned Yes. So Sarah Foote will be talking about why Athelstan really should be recognised as the first king of Britain. We've got Jim Storr talking about how did Athelstan get to become king? So it's a whole Saxon backstory. So the little bit I was saying about the West Saxons arriving, the Angles arriving, and so on. So Jim will bring us absolutely up to date with to the start of the Athelstan story. So it's kind of and it's the reason we put him. He's early in the program. Is so if you're thinking, I want to know what happened before we got to Athelstan, well, going to see Jim is going to be the answer for that. And then we've got Paul Hill talking about what warfare and battling was like in the Anglo-Saxon period, which is relevant. Whatever else Athelstan was, and he was remarkable in many ways. He was a warrior. He won the biggest battle ever fought on the English soil since the arrival of the Saxons 400 years before, and it was a battle that changed the course of British history. Brunanburh, 937, and then Michael Wood. And Michael's talk is already sold out, but Michael is his lifelong interest has been developing a biography of Athelstan. He's been doing it for the best part of 45, 50 years. He's nearly reaching his conclusions, and it will just be fascinating to hear that particular talk. And we've also mentioned Tom Holland coming now right at the start, which is just a fantastic extra bonus for us. And there are still tickets available to see Tom Holland at the Abbey on the 30th of June, and that will be a fantastic occasion as well. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, do now, because they are selling. They are going to be sold out talks, and it's great if as many as possible go to people in Malmesbury who want to come along and hear more about this important part of the town's history.
So Campbell, we've covered the first weekend, which is great. We've still got 2 weekends to go. What's happening?
2 weekends to go. I know. And this is, what a thing. So the middle weekend is an Anglo-Saxon craft fair and market in and around Market Cross, the Cloister Gardens. That's going to be great fun. So lots of different products and bits of food to eat that are all based on Saxon times. And so that'll be great. That's on the Saturday. We've got the live performances of Athelstan, the United Kingdom, 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. I say you can't miss it.
What is that?
It's a live. It's a live performance, basically, with the best talent in town, with a director who is brilliant, a producer who's brilliant, a writer, Paul Overton, who is brilliant. So it's a fantastic show. It's free. And it's going to be absolutely memorable. Anybody who's not there is going to be kicking themselves. And because of all the help we've been getting, we've been able to make it free. 4 times, 150 people in the Abbey. We're going to blow the roof off.
You're telling me
so that's free.
We've got two different plays being performed at Athelstan. One by the Children of St. Joseph's, and a second one by a group of adult actors. It's happening 4 times. In the Abbey as well, or is it in the town?
It's in the Abbey. Yeah. Okay. We have got some help with some students from Malmesbury. Yeah, we got some help from students from Malmesbury School as well. But it's going to be brilliant. And that's free. But those tickets are priceless. We're saying free. This is not because it's cheap case stuff. This is just priceless and things that are happening in town that we've been able to make for free.
What dates are they?
That's on the 13th and 14th of July, the Saturday and the Sunday. So right in the middle of the programme. And then on the Sunday, because we haven't quite finished on that one, so very quickly on the Sunday we've got a children's picnic in Cloister Gardens. So from 12 till 4, come along. There's lots of activities arranged. It will be good fun, storytellers, things to do, experience. There's a bit of a baking competition going on, so we'll see what the results of that are. And there'll be lots of making and crafts. The Scouts are going to be there as well with the stock. So that's going to be a lovely afternoon. Fingers crossed the weather's okay. If it's pouring with rain, we'll have to go in the town hall. But we're really looking forward to that. So that middle weekend, that's really Malmesbury, I think. It's a Malmesbury party, the middle weekend. And then the final weekend, which is...
Let's do it.
We've done 3 and
the last one. It can't be...
Yeah, the very last one. The last weekend is Anglo-Saxon Malmesbury. So we've got 200 Saxon reenactors from Regia Angelorum coming to Malmesbury. They're setting up a Saxon village in St Aldhelmsmead, and they'll be there Saturday and Sunday of the 20th and 21st of July for people to go and explore, talk to them, look at what Anglo-Saxon living was like, how food was prepared and cooked, how cloth was made, who did the chores. And of course, at 3 o'clock on both afternoons, there will be a battle in St Aldhelmsmead because, there just has to be, doesn't there? And there'll be a reenactment, and we'll have the Clash of the Shield Wall in St Aldhelmsmead. But it will be a chance to dip into a feel for what Anglo-Saxon life was like. The atmosphere will be brilliant, and of course, it'll be around town all weekend. And it will be, I think, a great occasion and a brilliant way of rounding off what by then, hopefully, people have said has been an absolutely brilliant, enjoyable 4 weeks of Malmesbury life.
So which battle are they reenacting? Just so we know.
Maybe they'll try and do a mini version of the Battle of Brunanburh. But whichever, it will be insightful in terms of just some of the.
Was that one one that Athelstan was in or involved in, or is that?
Well, that's right. That was yeah. Well, the Battle of Brunanburh was he spent quite a lot of his younger life fighting alongside his aunt Athelfleed in Mercia. So he certainly learned the art of warfare, as well as having a very serious religious education. But if we were talking about anything with Athelstan's reign, it's the Battle of Brunanburh, where it was really the combined forces of the Scots and the Irish, the Northumbrians, and who were saying, we really don't want Athelstan to be king of all England, and the combined forces of Wessex and Mercia, who said, well, we are going to be a united kingdom, and it was Athelstan who won the day.
I've got a couple more slides here. There's some really interesting looking fabric. Tell me about that.
Well, that's made by Helen at the Fabric Shack. And one of the things that's happening with Athelstan 1100 is we've been very lucky to have a brilliant logo created for us by Philip Kingsbury, a wooden spoon press. And I really enjoyed sitting down with him at the computer as we were making the final tweaks to the logo that we've got, which I think is captures, I think, the essence of Athelstan as an interesting individual. And it's there, and it does seem to be something that people are taking to their hearts. And so Helen has gone on and turned the logo into fabric. We're seeing other people making things with the Athelstan logo. So we're going to have tea towels, we're going to have mugs, we're going to have different bits of pottery, and of course themed products around Athelstan. So I've got a sneaking feeling that we might see some sausages and pies and ice cream and fudge and others that at least nod to Athelstan's influence in their creation, and a nod to all the different events and activities that are taking place over June and July. And I think that'd be great fun. It's brilliant to see local businesses getting so stuck into it, and with the banners in the high street, which will include pieces of art made by school children from Malmesbury and the surrounding schools, as well as residents in some of our sheltered accommodation around town, as well as from professional artists in Malmesbury, as well as other residents from Malmesbury. I think that's going to be a brilliant display. We've got lots of bunting going up made with some of that fabric that we've just seen from Helen and the Fabric Shack, and that will be around the Abbey at the end of June. So great fun. And this is a picture of the Athelstan to Aldi album that we were talking about earlier on. So real creativity there, which is going to be going to last, and it's telling some great stories. 15 songs about characters from Malmesbury's past. So let's make it platinum, Malmesbury. Let's give it a real go. There's some super stuff.
I can spot some more Phil Kingsbury on that one as well.
Absolutely, that looks like a Philip Kingsbury inspired cover there. And if you're looking very close at it, then a lot of the characters who are in the songs are in the that brilliant piece of graphic work that Philip has created. Yes.
Of course, Supermarine are our own record label that is based in Malmesbury and support a lot of local musicians. So this is, and I've actually got volume 1 of this, so I'll have to get volume 2 too. I'm sure.
Well, you will, and if you just start at volume 2, you have to go back and buy volume 1, which is still available in the town and tourist information centre of the town hall, and that has got some lovely songs on it. You can, if you like, as well do a audio trail around Malmesbury based on that first volume. So you can go to the places that inspired the songs that are on volume 1, and I'm hoping that the team who are behind Athelstan to Aldi will let us do that in the not too distant future with this as well, so we can create a trail around Malmesbury based on the songs. But first of all, we've got to get it launched and get people really enjoying it. It's just a brilliant piece of local work, and there's more, Lisa. We got the embroidery group are making a fantastic embroidery for Athelstan from scenes from his life. We've talked about the involvement of the schools. So the secondary school are having 2 full school days on Athelstan in July. and we've got all these different events where people can participate and experience. So it does seem to be reaching all parts of Malmesbury.
Well, I am really grateful for you for sharing this. I've got one last question, which is, how is this whole, well, two last questions. How is this thing kicking off? What's the
How is
first
it kicking
thing
off?
Yeah.
Well, we're building up to it slowly. You could say that the very first thing that we've got, we've had a run through of Anne's talk on Malmesbury in the museum, but I think it's the run up to that weekend and the 29th and 30th of June. That's when we'll really see it happening. So the banners go up at the start of June. I think that will really help create the atmosphere. There'll be an attraction in their own right. There are some lovely pieces of work in there. We'll then see the bunting going up. Sorry, Lisa.
Isn't there some sort of civil ceremony? Isn't there some sort of civil ceremony in the?
We are. So on the after Athelstan on the Saturday, we've got a Malmesbury Town Council has organised a bit of a get together to sort of open Athelstan 1100, and there will be an unveiling of a stone marking the event in Cloister Gardens, and then the official opening of the museum exhibition, and a little bit of a civic reception in the town hall. So that will be happening. But I think for me, it's the whole weekend bit, and I think people will really enjoy. And it's a real legacy item for Malmesbury, the creation of the Athelstan Pilgrim Way, which opens on the Sunday, which is 100 miles of footpaths and cycleways around Malmesbury, linking up all the local churches in the area. And that will be something that will be there forever. So that's great. So I think by the time we've done that first weekend, we think, crikey, we've got things open and we're are running. And then, of course, we've got the speaker program running during the week as well as at weekends. We've got the big weekends events. There's a few other things in the mix as well.
And what about ending? How's it ending? What's the last thing that's happening?
Well, the very last thing. Well, Athelstan 1100 isn't really ending until 2039, you could say, because it was one of the reasons that we chose to call it Athelstan 1100 is because there is the ability to then work through all of Athelstan's reign. So it's his coronation was next year. Now Kingston-on-Thames are going to be celebrating that, and we're working quite closely with Kingston-on-Thames on a few things. So that could be interesting for next year. We could well see the statue arrive next year or the year after as well. The Athelstan statue that's long been spoken about. 927 was Rennie really started to exercise his authority over the whole country, so that's worth recognising, all the way through to Brunanburh and eventually his death and coming back to Malmesbury to be buried. So in theory we can carry on. This year we're obviously going out to do as much as we sensibly can between now and the 22nd of July, but then we've got Carnival coming, and there will be people will be encouraged to follow through the Athelstan theme, and there's going to be a prize for the best Athelstan related part of the procession. So that will add to the fun. And then, of course, we got Wessex Week in October, which will pick up the Anglo-Saxon and Athelstan theme. So, there will be more to come. And I'm also hearing that Malmesbury Live Arts are planning a rather special event as well in November. So, we will see Athelstan, carry on. But the events we're really focusing on now from June to July are a bumper series of activities in their own right.
Well, Campbell, you are clearly, really knowledgeable and really have enjoyed putting this together. But I think we have to really thank you. I know it hasn't started yet, but thank you for all your work putting this together, because I know it's just taken over your life and that your family are probably really fed up with it. But
surely not.
We are really grateful, and and I'm sure like just looking at what happened with the reenactment a couple of weekends ago and how busy the town was. And, I can see that it's just, you plan things really well and you've involved so many different people. And so we're really grateful. So I'd like to say thank you myself. And I'm sure everybody in the town feels the same. So.
Well, yeah, I think, we're at the, thanks for that, Lisa. That's very kind. We're at the easy bit now. We're talking about what we're going to be doing, and obviously the proof's in the pudding, and what happens over the next few weeks. But it is, and I think the really rewarding part of what we've been doing so far is it's a huge team effort. It's so many different groups coming together, and each of the individual events that we've been speaking about, there's a project leader for that. There's a team that are pulling it together, and we've been able to reach out as well and get support from lots of different places. So we've had students from Bath, Spa University, University of Winchester, Film School in Bristol, all involved in this project. So, lots of people are getting experiences from it as well, and perhaps doing things that they otherwise might not have thought they would get the chance to do. But also, the business community, and I mentioned a few of them, but hats off. This is Malmesbury. All the different parts of Malmesbury coming together to say, let's give this let's give it a go, and that makes it so much easier. So, the work's being put in by hundreds of people now. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we get reasonable weather, and that we've got things here that people can really enjoy doing. It's set up for that, so let's get on and have the best time we possibly can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for your time today, Campbell. We've talked for far longer than we said we were going to, but I think that's fine. People can fast forward or do whatever they want. End it now. So bye. You can stay on. We can have a little chat after, but I'll just end the stream. So,
well, thank you so much Thank you so much for organising it, Lisa. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much for your support.
That's no problem. Bye, everyone. Bye.